Welcome to Black Nouveau. This is our edition for February. I'm Joanne Williams. Question: what do Thurgood Marshall, Lauryn Hill, and Nas all have in common? They're part of Milwaukee PBS's Black History Month programming. Of course, here at Black Nouveau, we celebrate African American history all year long. We'll preview some of the special programs airing this month. We'll show you how some Milwaukeeans are documenting local history and local citizens who are making it. And we'll look at the early roots of black music in America. We celebrate our history for many reasons, but most importantly, to remind America that it is a shared history. All of us are connected to what happens. The display, Allied in the Fight, Jews and Blacks and the Struggle for Civil Rights, currently at the Jewish Museum of Milwaukee, is a prime example. Liddy Collins has more.
We look back at that history to inform how we got to where we are today. So a lot of times we look at some of the issues we have in the city today, and we don't really understand why those exist. And I think looking back at the history gives us a lot of information about how these problems developed over the course of time.
That's Reggie Jackson, head griot with the America's Black Holocaust Museum, referencing an exhibit entitled Allied in the Fight, Jews, Blacks, and the Struggle for Civil Rights. It's on display through March 25th at the Jewish Museum Milwaukee.
The exhibit was actually created in New York City by a Jewish museum quite some time ago to commemorate the collaboration between African American and Jewish Americans on civil rights. And it seemed appropriate to bring it to the Jewish Museum here in Milwaukee during our 200 nights recognition of our open housing marches, 50 years since our open housing marches, and to examine where we've been, where we come from, where we're going.
Exhibit co-chair Ralph Holman feels this is an important and timely exhibit.
I really think if you look at the mood of our country, there's so much divisiveness and attempts to separate people. I think that this exhibit is very timely because it talks about people coming together. It talks about people showing and accentuating the things that they have in common rather than the things that divide them.
Curator Molly Dubin pulled together national pieces and then developed a Milwaukee focus that tied into the national narrative.
But also brings out some unique experiences and situations that are Milwaukee specific, and also gives us an opportunity to really contextualize and frame the historical relationship between the Jewish and Black communities, frame that relationship, and also frame the open housing marches and the 200 Nights of Freedom within that greater context, that greater narrative. We also felt it was a wonderful opportunity and a springboard to address many of these issues. So much of what we what we look at historically are issues we're still grappling with today.
So to get an understanding of the past so people can move forward, they have created programming around this exhibit.
We have a number of public programs scheduled throughout the run of that exhibit, including a 3-part series exploring redlining that is going to have lecture components, film components, panel discussion. We're going to have a screening of a film called From Swastika to Jim Crow.
And they're asking people to get involved with a call to action board. And they really want today's youth to know the role young people played in the marches.
I've always tried to let young people know that you have a lot more power than you typically believe. And if you want to see an example of people your age who actually use that power that they had, all you have to do is look back at the history of the open housing marches in Milwaukee and see the vital role that young people played in that effort.
How some young people will use information gleaned from this exhibit.
I'm going to use it to research more information. I think that I've been maybe exposed to a few different things that I didn't know about or that I didn't know as much about. And so I'm going to take this as an inspirational moment to research more.
Be sort of honest and vulnerable and about the stuff that I go through in this city. Same thing with a lot of the youth. They should be vulnerable and comfortable and safe in the space in order to sort of tell those stories. So hopefully I can make those platforms and those spaces for them.
I hope that young people will come to this exhibit, as they do regularly to the Jewish Museum to see other exhibits, and understand what the struggle has been. The civil rights struggle was largely carried out by young people. That's one of the things that many students don't know, that people, 15, 16, 17 years old, the college-age people, were very, very involved. Vel Phillips was young then. Martin Luther King was only 39 when he was murdered. This was a young people's movement, and we need young people to pick up the torch.
So recent events in our country have really brought the issue of civil rights, basic, fundamental human rights, back into the forefront of people's minds. And where that may have not been something that young people are regularly thinking about, I think it's something that they're being exposed to now through television, through radio, through the internet. And it's exhibits like this, programs, opportunities that are going to help them to kind of contextualize that information and help them to understand that they're a critical piece of moving forward in a positive way.
What I would like to see people take away from it is to show that historically there's been a strong bond between the Jewish community and the African American community. That's really important because frankly over time there was a little strain in the relationship, and we need to get beyond that strain.
Historical, it's timely, it's forward-looking. It's a means of engagement.
We don't often think about it, but history is handed down through culture, in stories and pictures, in words and in music. Today, black music is a major part of America's culture, but that wasn't always true. The show Black Pearl Sings, currently at the Milwaukee Rep, helps tell that story. James Causey has more.
There's a certain musical genius about black music. It's all, whether you're talking about blues, whether you're talking about R&B, whether you're talking about soul music, whether you're talking about gospel, country western, there's so many different genres, but the music of our people has taught people to feel.
Satan's mad and I'm so glad, missed a soul he thought he had. Seemed like everybody in this whole wide world is down on me. Mind you, brother, when you walk on the cross, your foot might slip and your soul be lost. Seem like everybody in this whole wide world is down on me. Oh, down on me, Lord. Down on me.
You can't help but feel when Lynette Dupree sings. She's been in stage versions of The Color Purple and Dreamgirls. She is currently the lead in Black Pearl Sings at the Milwaukee Rep. It is a play with music that goes back to the roots of black music in America. Her character is serving time on a chain gang in Texas during the Depression.
Pearl is very gifted in that she sings really well. But not only that, she's connected, the music connects her to her ancestors. And that's the power that keeps her going. The power of her ancestors suffering alongside with her and encouraging her and helping her to overcome obstacles that for many people would really just completely take them under.
While the music helps sustain Pearl, it catches the ear of a white woman who wants to know more about what she is hearing.
Black Pearl Sings is set in the 1930s in Texas. It is primarily the story of two women, and Susanna Mullally is an ethnomusicologist who's been going around the country trying to collect songs of the people who engage each other in a very unexpected way in the warden's office in a prison. Pearl is an inmate.
Abdul Hamid Royale is the show's music director. He's a native Milwaukeean with an international portfolio. As the drama unfolds, so does a deeper understanding of the origins of Black music in America.
Anyone who has come to the shores of America has brought with them some culture, some history. What the Africans did bring with them, though, was an aesthetic, a sense of art, a sense of music, a tonal system, a cosmology, a way of a theology, theologies, ways of looking at God, ways of expressing that, and ways of engaging majority culture that later became popular art forms that we know today.
You sing these words going up like this. Kumbaya. Try it.
Kumbaya.
And then you're going to go down. Kumbaya.
Kumbaya.
These be island words that mean come by here. So then at the end, you're going to add a couple of words for the ending. Oh, Lord, kumbaya. Try that.
Oh, Lord, kumbaya.
Good. Here we go. It's kumbaya, Lord, kumbaya. It's kumbaya, Lord, kumbaya. It's kumbaya, Lord, kumbaya. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, kumbaya.
The mythology is that that spirituals are all about pain, that Black music is all about pain, that Negro songs were all about pain. There's joy, there's history, there's laughter, there's sarcasm, there's political insight. All of these things are part of the music of Pearl.
We need you, Lord, kumbaya. We need you, Lord.
Kumbaya.
PBS honors the African American experience in the arts.
She was fearless.
I had a lot to say.
In history.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive.
And civil rights.
How can we stay silent? We got faith.
Thank you so much.
You can also see a list of programs on the Milwaukee PBS website, milwaukeepbs.org. That's where you can find out what time and on which station the programs with Thurgood Marshall, Lauryn Hill, and Nas will air. The website also has a list of some local events that you may want to attend. Here are a couple of special programs on Milwaukee PBS this month. The POV documentary Do Not Resist covers a very timely subject.
Do Not Resist provides viewers with an opportunity to go beyond the headlines and directly experience many of the ongoing developments in modern American law enforcement.
While our officers are facing an increasingly dangerous environment, we are seeing a growing debate about so-called warrior cops and the militarization of police.
I've always been interested in police issues because my father was a police officer for 29 years. He was actually a SWAT officer. We wanted to make a film that wasn't regionally specific. We wanted to do something that was nationally relevant, that showed the full breadth of the SWAT officer experience. So we approached offering the only thing we had to offer, which was an authentic portrayal of whatever we did together. This was our promise to the police departments, and we very much delivered on that promise. And over time, we were able to build relationships with departments in order to get the access that we needed to help tell the story. When Michael Brown was killed, that seemed to be the straw that broke the camel's back. We arrived in Ferguson for the second weekend of unrest. This is something that had been brewing within the community for decades and just finally came to a head. When you start to look at the statistics of how SWAT is deployed was rather shocking to me. This equipment was supposed to be used for terrorism.
There's actually written descriptions for how the equipment should be used, and it says it's specifically not supposed to be used for riot suppression.
You know, the equipment is, maybe given out even under the best intentions, but without oversight, it's very hard to control how that's being used.
We are at war, and you're the frontline troops in this war.
We need a range of weapons and equipment to respond and protect our fellow citizens and protect ourselves.
To give you an example, my father's team, he was on SWAT for 13 years. They did 29 search warrants total. And you compare that with teams that we were going out with while making the film, and they're doing 3 to 4 raids a day, 200 raids a year. And so that escalation was absolutely shocking to see. I think it's very important for people to draw a distinction between the equipment when it's used for its proper design, which is to fight terrorism, versus the equipment being deployed for drug search warrants.
Do not resist on POV.
And Tell Them We Are Rising is an Independent Lens production by Stanley Nelson.
The question for African Americans has always been, what is education's purpose? Who controls it? And what is the relationship of education to the broader aspirations of our people?
The more the system denies you the chance to read and to write, the more that becomes a prize that you must have.
Black colleges were redefining what it meant to be black in America. You were pursuing a career where intellect mattered.
An educated black population could not be an enslaved black population.
If you weren't out there demonstrating, then something had to be wrong with your school.
We wanted freedom now, but whites were not prepared for any changes here.
I think they should be kept out any way possible.
A slaveholder could work a slave to death. He could rape a slave. He could do virtually anything but teach a slave how to read or write.
As soon as the war breaks out, the first thing they want is to get an education.
They wanted those schools to be as free as possible from paternalism, from racism, whether subtle or blatant.
Movements are easily birthed on HBCU's campuses.
We must love and protect each other.
We're all going through the same experience.
HBCU is somewhere where I can be completely myself.
The black college experience provides the place to be in the majority. That is such a unique and empowering experience.
This HBCU experience has taught me that anything is possible as long as you have that one spark.
Milwaukee is known to be the hub for human trafficking, and what I say is not enough people on the ground doing things, talking to these young ladies, bringing awareness to what's going on out here as far as human trafficking. A lot of fathers are not in the home, and it's hard for the mothers because they have to work all day, which leaving the young girls to be out to defend for themselves. And a guy come by, he say, hey, I got some money, can you do this? If she come from a background that's not structured or not safe or the right place for her, 9 times out of 10, she may lead down going to the wrong direction. Right now we in a crisis. Right now our community is really hurting, really suffering with all the deaths, with all the missing girls, the kidnapping, the rapes going on. A strip club, any strip club is the last thing that we need here in the community because we need to heal first before we bring all this entertainment. And if we don't heal first, we're bringing the resources, family engagement, just a proper structure back to our community. It's going to lead more girls to go towards that field, which is the entertainment. So we have to go back to the home. We got to start providing home resources for not just the children or the mothers, but also the fathers. Give them housing resources, food resources, clothing resources, different things that they need that make them stable in our community. And together what we need to do is just uplift each other, motivate each other, and let us know, I got your back. I'm here. If you need somebody to reach out to me. We no longer support each other or have each other's back because we only worried about our Pacific family or the people we care about. What I would just like to say is, let's stop supporting these strip clubs and put money back into the Black community so we can build youth buildings, youth services. I would like to tell the men, step up. If you have a daughter, a niece, a cousin, a sister, a mother, grab them, let them know that you care about them, that you love them, because if you don't, a pimp will.
That's a clip from one of the videos on myblackstory.us. It's a website designed to promote and provide more positive images of Milwaukee's Black community. It was started by Dr. Rob Biko Baker of Render. That's the name of your digital organization, right?
That's right.
And you've been up since July?
That's right.
Okay. Why'd you decide to tell these stories?
Well, I've always been passionate about the story that we don't hear about that much on the news, and that's the positive Black folks that are changing the world and discovering new things. And so after the Sherman Park uprising, Rashid Shabazz from the Campaign for Black Male Achievement called me and said, Biko, what can we do there in Milwaukee? I know that's not the story that we've seen. And he gave me a little bit of freedom to create a web series, and it's been taking off since.
How do you find the people who tell their stories?
Well, we first interviewed a whole bunch of people like Pastor Walter Lanier, David Muhammad, Jeff Roman. And these are individuals who are out in the streets every single day, and they gave us a list of names. And then I have friends and comrades who have been inspiring me since I came back from going to UCLA. And so it's a mix of reference and people that we think are cool.
It sounds like from the stories I listen to, they all have some sort of mission that they are on. Is that what you're looking for too?
Yeah, we want to find people who are challenging the norms and are coming up with good ideas and disrupting what's going on in the status quo. And I think that this is an amazing time with new media and old media coming together and finding new pathways. And there's some young people in this city that have some new ideas, and there's some veteran people who haven't been talked to yet. And we want to put a spotlight on them and give them a magnifying glass.
How important is it to talk to a variety of people? Most of the ones I've seen are, like you say, your friends and people, some of we've heard of, but there are people out there we don't know. You want to hear from them too?
That's right. This last, about 2 weeks ago, we just launched a forum online for people to actually give us recommendations. And we've had dozens of people sign up and tell us about their friends. And so we want to get everybody involved. We want to have a cross pattern of Milwaukee, because there's so much going on the north side that doesn't get talked about. And it's sort of sad sometimes we look at the mainstream news when you know that you have friends who are changing the world, one block at a time.
Who do you want to look at these stories?
That's a good question. I think sometimes when we do things, we want the media to pay attention. But I really want a Black person who's maybe struggling, who doesn't see themselves in the media, to pick it up and watch it and be inspired, and share the story with their friends, but also be inspired to do new things.
How difficult is it to get these folks to really talk? Or are they just ready to talk?
As you probably know better than me, that some people are on a broad range of spectrum. We have a couple of the interviews that were like 25, 30 minutes long. We had to chop them to 3 minutes. And we've had some folks who haven't talked at all, and we've really had to push them. One of the formats we use is the Obama story of self, us, and now. And he learned it from Marshall Gans, who was a legendary activist in the farm worker movement. And he's a Harvard scholar. And he found out that when you break a story down into the self, which is the personal story, to the us, which is the connection, and then the now to the call to action, that people respond. So we always try to push our interviewees to go into that format, because if it worked for Barack Obama, I think it can work for a lot of people.
you told some of your story online too.
That's right, yeah.
Did you want to start with you to show that it's okay to do this?
No, I didn't want to do myself at all. And I was only prompted by the campaigner for Black Female Achievement when we, after the anniversary of Sherman Park Uprising, they felt that it would be great to get my voice on the web. But you know, before doing this, I spent a lot of time in the hip hop world where I was doing a lot of bragging and braggadocio. Hip hop magazines like this one here, I wrote for them. And I learned that over the years that a humble spirit and people that can connect through passion and not always through voice have a bigger impact. So I'm trying to change my style up a little bit and prefer to be behind the scenes.
So tell us, what's the website? How do we find it?
This website is myblackstory.us. You can find it there, and you can go to Facebook, which is My Black Story, find our stories and share them, please.
All right, we'll take a look. Thanks a lot for coming on Black Nouveau.
Thank you.
Join us for the next edition of Black Nouveau on Thursday, March 1st at 9 p.m. on Channel 10. We'll talk with playwright Dale Orlander Smith about Until the Flood, her production about the killing of Michael Brown and its implications for Milwaukee. You know, it's not just TV anymore. We're also on the web and on Facebook. We post new material every week, so look for us at MilwaukeePBS.org and follow us on Facebook. But wait, there are more ways to connect with Black Nouveau. Call us and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and share any story ideas you have. We want to hear from you. The number is 414-797-3760. That's 414-797-3760. And that's our program for this month. For Black Nouveau, I'm Joanne Williams. Remember to celebrate Black history.